What's happening, everybody? It's Max from the Nerd Desk, and welcome back to Comic Comparison. I have a question for you. Do you like do you like Elseworlds books? Do you like seeing familiar faces and locations, but with some sort of twist on their personality or time period that makes them more unique? Well, if the answer is yes, you're in luck, because today we're covering the very first DC Elseworlds book, Batman, Gotham by Gaslight. It's a one-shot, single issue from 1989, the same year that Michael Keaton's Batman movie came out, and follows Batman from the Victorian Era, hunting Jack the Ripper after he arrives in Gotham. It was written by Brian Augustine and illustrated by Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy and writer and illustrator of another Batman story, The Doom That Came to Gotham, a personal favorite. Like I said earlier, the book came out in 1989 and has had quite a few follow-ups and sequels since then. There's another one-shot from 1991 called Master of the Future, which is okay. He popped up briefly in the Countdown and Convergence events, and all three of these will be included with the original if you buy the volume like I did. Then in 2024, there was the Kryptonian Age, which introduced more characters like Superman and led directly into A League for Justice, which is still being released. But more importantly for this video, the book was adapted into animation in 2018 as a direct-to-DVD movie produced by Bruce Timm. My expectations for this one are a bit different than usual, because unlike Planet Hulk or The New Frontier, which compiles an entire story arc of several issues into one movie, this is 48 pages of a comic turned into a 70-minute movie. So I already know there will be some major changes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in store for us. With that in mind though, let's get started. The comic opens in 1889 with Bruce Wayne recounting the night his parents died to his mentor, Sigmund Freud. Yeah, because he's been traveling all across Europe training to avenge his parents. It's even implied he's met with Sherlock Holmes, which is funny.
Sherlock Holmes, I presume.
How did you deduce my identity so quickly?
The hat.
But it's also in this conversation that we find out why bats are so important to Bruce. They saved him from the killer that night. Then later, Bruce boards a ship back to America and runs into an old friend of the family, Jacob Packer, who's also returning to the States, and they catch up during dinner, where Jacob lusts over this one woman wearing a yellow dress. A few weeks later, the ship arrives in the bay of Gotham City, and Bruce is reunited with Alfred. The two return to Wayne Manor, which looks very homely compared to how it's usually portrayed. Looks like you could find it in the Tucson countryside. Once within the manor, Bruce immediately asks if it is still ready, the it in question being the Batsuit. The next day, Bruce meets with his old friend Gordon, who's a police inspector this time around. They discuss how crime rates have skyrocketed recently, with Gordon even showing him a picture of a man who paralyzed his face with poison, an obvious reference to the Joker. On the next page, there's a narration from Jack the Ripper talking about how much he loves Gotham compared to London over assorted panels of women that he's most likely planning to kill, and that actually lines up with Jack's real-life murders. From August to November of 1888, he killed 5 women in Whitechapel, England, which at the time was a very run-down, poor part of the city. Later that night, some thugs are trying to rob the safe of a railroad station, but are stopped by the first appearance of Batman, who is only shown in shadow, similar to his first appearance in The Dark Knight Returns. Very nice touch. This is followed by a montage of him stopping crime across the city, with news headlines reporting both his activities and the mysterious murders of young women. Now, taking a break and starting up the movie, we open to a gentleman's club with a performance by one Miss Ivy. Uma Thurman? She leaves for the night down an alleyway and eventually runs into a man wearing a trench coat and top hat cloaked in shadow. Ivy tries to put the moves on for this mysterious man, but no kiss from a rose is good enough, as he draws a knife and pursues her, so this is obviously Jack the Ripper.
No.
While he's busy trimming the plants, an older couple is cornered by 3 boys named Dickie, Jason, and Timmy, an obvious reference to the Robins, and it is pretty cute. Their robbery is soon interrupted by the appearance of the Batman, and I will say the suit translated pretty well into animation. After dispatching the thieves and their boss, Batman arrives too late to save Ivy from being stabbed to death. In the next scene, the mayor of Gotham presents the World's Fair, an effort by Bruce Wayne to make the city a better place. In the Master of the Future comic, the fair is a big plot detail that was instead funded by the mayor himself and not Bruce. The mayor's speech is protested by Leslie Tompkins, a nun from the church, and Selina Kyle, who in this universe is an actress, and they argue that Jack the Ripper would have already been stopped by the police if he was murdering the rich instead of poor women. And it's also implied that Jack started killing in Gotham and wasn't ever in England. Gordon tries to calm the situation when Bruce arrives, and the two of them, plus Leslie, agree that Batman isn't the murderer, and she takes cute jabs at Bruce since they were pretty close when he was growing up. That evening, Selina walks alone through the Gotham streets until Jack shows up. She lures him into a butcher house and, in Catwoman fashion, takes out her whip and they begin fighting. Right as Jack is about to strangle Selina to death, Batman arrives to save her, and surprisingly, Jack puts up a pretty solid fight. In a last-ditch attempt, Batman drops him down a chute, but he disappears soon after. Then cut to another alleyway where Jack kills Gordon's wife, but it turns out to be a nightmare. Gordon steps outside to enjoy his very early morning coffee and is joined by Batman, asking for help. He agrees and gives him a letter that Jack sent to the newspaper but was never published. Gordon then warns him never to come to the house again. Moving back to the comic for a bit, Bruce attends a party at someone's mansion and converses with both Gordon and Commissioner Tolliver, and he states Batman as the killer and promises his capture to the other guests. Then there's another sequence narrated by Jack as he kills another woman who looks a lot like Selina in the movie, but I don't think it's supposed to be her. I wonder if the game Assassin's Creed Syndicate took any inspiration from this story, because in the Jack the Ripper storyline, you hop back and forth between him committing murders and Evie trying to catch him. Then, as Batman is out on patrol, he questions himself and his decision to become a hero to avenge his parents' murder. He soon hears another woman screaming as Jack cuts her down, again arriving just too late. Meanwhile, at the manor, Gordon arrives to interrogate Bruce, and Alfred poorly covers for him. Later, Gordon receives the letter from Jack. As he's reading it, Commissioner Tolliver barges in and tells him that they have a new lead. The entire police force searches through Wayne Manor, where Bruce assures Alfred that the Batsuit has been hidden away in the grandfather clock. After the search, he goes back to his breakfast when Gordon comes back with Jack's knife in hand and tells him that he's the one they've looked for and to come with them and escape. Escape into the courthouse, that is, where Harvey Dent, the district attorney and face mask enthusiast, grills him during a several-day trial, with the final sentence being the death penalty, and he's locked away in Arkham Asylum for the time being. Alright, I know I'm leaving everyone on a cliffhanger there, but I'm gonna cover the movie up to this point now. Bruce and Harvey Dent go to the Monarch Theater for a musical headlined by Selina, who Harvey seems to be having an affair with.
Bruce, I'm in love.
Well, that's great news, Harvey. I'm sure your wife will be glad to hear it.
Damn!
Afterward, the three of them all go out for drinks at the Dionysus Gentlemen's Club. That's also apparently the name of a club in the Call of Cthulhu board game, so that's cool. Speaking of Cthulhu, I found several similarities between Gotham by Gaslight and the Doom that came to Gotham. Bruce returning home after many years, the Robins all being a group, the Batsuits are pretty similar, and of course Mike Mignola's art. Anyways, Selina and Bruce bond before he puts some clues together and then runs to the church in an attempt to save Leslie Tompkins, who unfortunately is cut down by Jack. Bruce comes across her body right after and finds a pin for the Dionysus Club, which at least narrows down the list of suspects. The next day, her funeral is held, and Bruce is antagonized by an older woman named Marlene. She's possibly a version of Harley Quinn who saw Bruce at the church when Leslie was killed, and threatens to rat him out to the police, but she's quickly detained. Hugo Strange, the only man who could rival Lex Luthor in baldness, asks Bruce to meet Batman at Arkham Asylum, which is suspicious to say the least.
I know you are Bruce Wayne.
That night at Arkham Asylum, Jack arrives in Hugo's office, taking one of his masks and throwing him into a pit of cartoon loonies that I guess eat him or something. Batman arrives as this is happening and chases Jack onto a nearby Zeppelin. They jump around from the interior to the rooftops and then back onto the top, and all jokes aside, this fight scene is awesome. Jack gets the upper hand and starts pushing Batman into the propellers, but the Zeppelin's night flight is interrupted when the levee breaks from the police shooting at it, causing it to crash. Jack escapes in the explosion, but Batman is heavily injured, so he has to sneak around this maze of a city avoiding the police. Selina quickly swoops in with her carriage and picks up Bruce, realizing he's Batman, and they cleverly evade the police inspection.
Is there a problem, officer?
The next day at his townhouse, Bruce is detained by the police, who found the dead body of Marlene under the bridge downtown, and since he wasn't home that night, it's enough to put him on trial as Jack the Ripper. But Harvey rips into Bruce pretty aggressively in court, and he's sent to Blackgate Penitentiary until the jury reaches a decision. Okay, so now that Bruce has been jailed in both versions, we're approaching the end, so I'll just finish up the comic first. Gordon visits Bruce with Jack's files as he believes him to be innocent but obviously can't break him out. Bruce later spends more time putting things together and then sneaks out of the prison by switching clothes with Alfred. Back in the city, Jack is about to claim another victim but is finally caught in the act by Batman, who chases him into a cemetery, specifically to the Wayne gravestone. Says it's over to a defeated Jack, who's revealed to be Jacob Packard, the guy from the very beginning.
Who?
Jacob Packard.
Man, legendary outlaw?
In his insane ramblings, he explains that he knew the Waynes growing up, even having feelings for Martha. When he confessed to her, though, she laughed him off and married Thomas, as we all know. So, out of anger, he had them killed, but he continued to fall deeper and deeper into insanity, seeing Martha all around him, in London and most recently in Gotham. Batman takes off his mask, striking more fear into Jacob, who is soon collected by Gordon, and Batman tells him Jacob's story and proves Wayne's innocence before disappearing. The story then ends on a splash panel of Batman perched on a gargoyle, while Gordon says that the city is definitely going to need him from now on. I must admit, at first it seems weird to make the killer an original character that didn't appear much, but once it's explained how it connects back to Bruce's past and the Whitechapel murders, it becomes a pretty creative reveal for a story limited to one issue. Now that we've wrapped it up though, let's see what the movie does with feature length. Selina visits Bruce in Blackgate and tells him that she's going to expose him as Batman to exonerate him from jail, which he's obviously not on board with, but she really doesn't care and just walks off. Later, the guards let him out for food, and in the cafeteria, there's a boxing contest with Cyrus Gold, the original name of Solomon Grundy, which is a pretty cool cameo.
Who will face Cyrus Gold?
I'll give it a whirl.
Bruce wipes the floor with him and starts a prison riot to escape. Alfred has the Robin boys from earlier bring both the Batsuit and a mysterious crate to an alleyway, and after Batman suits up, we find out that it's a steampunk motorcycle. Wow! He drives to Gordon's house and investigates a secret room, full of old military stuff and organs in jars of formaldehyde. His wife starts ranting about Gordon cleansing her of sin, leading Bruce to identify James Gordon as Jack the Ripper.
We need him to.
Good Lord.
At the same time, Selina meets with Gordon at the World's Fair, and he drugs her and puts her in the Ferris wheel of all places. Batman quickly intervenes and begins fighting him. In this fight, all the hands are revealed. How is Gordon the killer if Jack was a lefty? The nuns beat him into only using his right hand.
Always use my right, except for Jack's work.
How is he so good in close combat? Professional boxing. Why did he go crazy in the first place? The Battle of Antietam from the Civil War. The deadliest battle in American history, with 23,000 casualties in just one day. A fire spreads from the Ferris wheel and engulfs the entire fair. Eventually, Batman cuffs Gordon to a rail with the most perfect one-liner the story could ever have.
I paid Houdini $300 for that trick.
Gordon chooses to walk into the flames and die, while Batman and Selina escape with Alfred and the boys as the fair burns down around them. A huge hope for Gotham is now lost. Cut to the credits. I must say, it's an abrupt ending, but an interesting one, especially since it takes influence from the Master of the Future story. And as for the Gordon reveal, it's not bad. I mean, if I somehow survived Antietam, I probably would have gone crazy too. So, you know, in the end, the stories did have some things in common. Jack the Ripper being the main villain, Batman stopping a robbery in the beginning, him being accused as the Ripper, and Bruce going to jail and sneaking out, but that's really all there is. Mike Mignola, for sure one of the most unique comic artists. Gotham looks great here, just a sprawling pile of Gothic architecture, in a similar way to the animated series with its own Art Deco style. I also like the constant use of frontal face shots, it adds to the creepy atmosphere. Animation-wise, the movie is solid. I did notice some reused locations, but that does kind of make the world more claustrophobic, and that's an interesting touch. Getting into our voice cast, Bruce Greenwood reprises his role as Batman 8 years after Under the Red Hood, and he fits right back in like it was yesterday.
Go home.
Obviously, it's a slightly different, more detective-oriented performance, but he still nails it. Jennifer Carpenter plays Catwoman pretty well and works as a good co-lead. Scott Patterson played a pretty solid Gordon in the first two-thirds, and once he's outed as Jack the Ripper, he switches into a fun, crazy villain, and that range is impressive.
Only Jack, has the remedy for that vile ill.
He's actually no stranger to killing or law enforcement because he played an FBI agent in a bunch of the Saw movies. Other notable actors include Grey DeLisle as Leslie Tompkins, Jason Todd, and she also does Selena's musical part at the beginning, which is pretty cool.
When the circus came to town, J. Augustus Henpeck Brown.
Tara Strong as Marlene and Timmy Drake. Yuri Spider-Man Lowenthal plays Harvey Dent.
Bruce, I'm in love.
Good lord.
William Salyers, who played Stalin in Superman Red Son, plays Hugo Strange.
Please tell me how.
Peter Parker. Brilliant but lazy.
Shut the fuck.
The hilarious John DiMaggio plays Bullock and the crook that Robbins worked for, which is cool. We last saw him as multiple characters in All-Star Superman. And finally, Bruce Timm himself plays this guy.
Arkham to police headquarters. The Batman has murdered Dr. Strange and escaped in the police airship.
Okay, now that we've evaluated both of our Gotham brand gaslights, I surprisingly think we have a tie. Both versions have some things in common, most obviously Jack the Ripper being the villain, but not much else besides that. They provide different experiences. The book is a more curated mystery, for lack of a better word. It's very limited compared to other versions of the Batman mythos and builds itself up with more contemporary stories from the 1800s, which is great for immersion. Meanwhile, the movie can be chalked up to a typical Batman story with a Victorian paint job, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's definitely an audience for either one. I'm in both. I'm just glad that neither version made Joker Jack the Ripper, because that would have been the most predictable, lazy idea of all time. Currently, we're still sitting at a 9:2 ratio of books to movies from last episode, but now 14:7 if you include ties. Also, I wanted to say that my next episode will be comparing the heavily requested Superman vs. the Elite to its comic counterpart. So, in a way, I'll still be talking about a British murderer. Looking at you, Manchester Black. Well everyone, we've reached the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this one to be entertaining and informative. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more from me in the future. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And I will see you nerds later.